Now that we have the authenticated user's data, we need to cross-check and see if the authenticated user is actually part of those who like this post. So I'll actually create a helpful computed property, and this computed property is simply going to return towards the IDs of the users who have liked this post. Okay, so right here I'll just call the computed property likes, and right here I'm gonna loop through all the likes of this particular post, and I'm gonna save the IDs. So first of all, I'll just declare a variable called likers, and it's going to be equal to an array. Okay, so I can go ahead and call this property likers just to be clearer. So I'll loop through all of the likes for this particular post, and I'm gonna push in the ID of the user who liked into the likers array. Okay, so this is how it's gonna look like. So this dot post, which is this property right here, dot likes dot for each. So for each of those likes for that particular post, right here I'll just receive the current like in the for each loop, and in my callback what I'm gonna do is simply push to the likers array. So I'll say likers dot push, and what am I pushing? The ID of the user who likes this particular post, who created this like. Okay, so I'll say like dot user dot ID. Okay, so I'm looping through all of the likes for that particular post, and I'm pushing the ID. Okay, so as soon as I finish looping and pushing into the likers array, I'm just gonna return the likers. Okay, so the likers computed property right here will simply return the array of users who like the particular post. Okay, so right now the last piece of the puzzle is actually checking if our authenticated user is a liker. Okay, so we'll say auth user likes post, and this is gonna either be true or false. Okay, so we'll first of all check if the authenticated user that we have obviously in our store that we got using our init.view, if the authenticated user actually likes this post, meaning his ID that we have in our store is in the likers array, then we'll return true. If not, then we're just gonna return false. So we'll say var, and this will be just check index, can be whatever you want. So check index is going to be equals to this dot likers dot index of, and right here we're gonna pass in the authenticated user's ID. So we'll say this dot store dot state dot auth user dot ID right here, and this index of right here method is called on an array which we have right here, which is this dot likers, an array we just created, and it's gonna receive a value. Okay, and it's gonna take this value and check if it actually exists in this array, and if it exists, it's gonna return the index of that value in that array, and if it doesn't exist, it's simply gonna return -1. Okay, so right here we are saving the result, either a -1 or the actual index in the array right here in a variable called check index. Okay, so right here we'll just say if check index is equal to -1, meaning we couldn't find that user in the likes array, we'll just return false, and else return true. Okay, so it's simply returning true or false depending on the result from this index of method. Okay, so this index of method simply takes in a value, checks if that value is in this array, returns a -1 if it's a failure, and returns the index of that value in this array if it's a success. Okay, so the next step, we can use that property right here to display a like button or not. Okay, so we'll say v if not authenticated user likes post right here. So if the authenticated user does not like this post, we'll show like this post button, and right here we'll just have a velse. Okay, so if the user already likes this post, it will just say unlike this post. Okay, so hopefully that should work. Let's go ahead and check this out. So we'll refresh, and let's go down, and you see right here we have like post, like post, like post, like post, and right here where I actually like the post, it says unlike post. Okay, so looks like everything's working perfectly. I'll go ahead and explain again all over because this actually has a lot in it. Okay, so from the beginning in our feed.view, we are looping through all our posts, and when we loop through all of those posts, we have our like right here, and for each post, a post is gonna have a like component. Okay, so each post has a like component, and for us to identify, we are passing in the ID of the post right here as a prop into that component. Okay, so our component receives that like, receives that ID, and it saves it right there, right here. And we use that ID to actually find the particular post in our store. And after finding that, we have access to that post. Okay, so from that post we can actually look through all the likes and display the avatar of those who liked that post. Okay, so after displaying all of that, the next step is to know if the authenticated user likes the post or not. So we need the authenticated user's data, which in our init.view we just get the data from the database and save in our store. Okay, so the next step is actually checking if one of those users in our likes is actually the authenticated user. So we're going to create a helpful computed property, which is the likers, and this likers is simply going to return an array of the IDs of everybody that likes that post. Okay, so we're just looping right here and we're pushing the IDs to the likers array. So the last step, we have an auth user likes post computed property, and it's returning true or false depending on if the authenticated user's ID is found in the likers array. Okay, so using that property right here, we can actually display if the user likes the post or not. So that's everything, and go ahead and watch this video again all over and pause it if you don't understand, but I really hope you do. Okay, so in the next video we'll actually make our buttons, the like and unlike post buttons, to work.